eigenlijk een heel bijzonder moment. Aanwezig in een heel luxe hotel op dit moment. Waar, ja, als je het moet vergelijken, je hebt Thomas Edison met de gloeilamp. En hij is dan eigenlijk wel de Thomas Edison van de techno. Ik heb het over Jeff Mills, Mr. Mills. Oh, welcome to Amsterdam. Welcome to the Amsterdam Dance Event.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
How is it to be back in Amsterdam?
Oh, good. Yeah, it's always pleasant to come back and play. And yeah, I mean, I have a long history here, so it's comfortable.
You're doing a lot of special things here. First of all, tomorrow you're going to the Rembrandt House to compose new music. Earlier this year you went to the Louvre in Paris to study a painting by Rembrandt. Why?
Well, I was currently involved in a residency at Le Louvre, and then the idea and the offer came to do something special for ADE, and I think in a conversation, someone from the organization mentioned that they knew someone at the Rembrandt House, and that maybe they might be interested in an idea of doing something. So we took a tour of it, and then I thought, well, it could be interesting to try to create some type of soundscaping. If I can kind of capture the acoustics or capture the atmosphere in this room where Rembrandt, painted, it might be interesting way to kind of extend electronic music into a completely different direction, So I submitted a proposal and a plan, and they accepted. So tomorrow we try it.
And you went to the Louvre also to see the painting by Rembrandt called "Philosopher in Meditation," right?
Yeah, that's one of the paintings, the Rembrandt paintings in their collection, but I discovered that from actually doing research. After I had seen the museum, I began to research all his works and sketches and everything, and it was that one that I thought had a multi-perspective. And perhaps maybe a link that could connect to someone like myself who spends hours in the studio by myself, So I thought that maybe that one might make the transition better.
But how do you translate that into music?
Because it's the same way. I mean, when you are composing music, you're deep in thought. And you are trying to imagine what things basically sound or feel like. So that pushes you to search for certain notes and certain chords and keys. And you rarely have any visual reference. So you have to use your imagination. Mm-hmm. And what you see around you is quite important. So if there is a window, depending on the time of the day, if it's just a blank wall, mm-hmm. which is the case in my studio. It's much easier to imagine things that you need to be able to understand in order to be able to translate it. So there's a lot of connection with that particular painting and the way that electronic music producers produce, which is typically by themselves.
Tomorrow, as you said, you're going to the Rembrandt House, the place where Rembrandt used to paint, used to practice. Do you have already any idea what kind of music will come out?
No, but I have a few things that I need to understand first before I really get into the production. I need to have some idea as to what the sound's going to sound like in the space after I make it. So there'll be a test there, and then yeah, I mean, there's a few things that I need to kind of work out. I need to see how quickly I can, within like 30 minutes, what's the process. If not, I have to rearrange the equipment so that I can work even faster. But I have about 5 hours, so I think after the first hour I should have worked out all those kinks, and so a good 4.5, 5 hours of production time. There's not much sun today, so I probably won't be able to, maybe tomorrow's the same, so I won't probably see the same type of sun, the effect of the sun the same way that he did. but at least I can, I should be able to, being in the room by myself, be able to try to imagine what he's seen from certain perspectives. And for instance, like in his paintings, windows were very, or the principal people in the paintings were always looking or facing the left, and that is probably because of the light in the room is all on the left side. So it could be that, the natural lighting was also affecting the canvas and also the colors of the paint. And so the sound probably will have that type of stereo filter where it's heavier on the left than the right.
Wow, that's awesome.
Well, it's
The idea sounds awesome.
well, I mean, if I made a list of the type of things that I need to do to get closer to translating what it feels like to actually be in the room, and in research trying to find out how he mixed the paints on the right side and then brought them over to the left. So there's also a window on the right as well. So the colors of the paint was really important. So between those 2 points creates, and he must have stood back, and so that it must have created a certain type of way that he stood back to look at the painting, went over to mix the paints, and so I try to find the point where it's most likely where he stood when he looked back and looked how the light was actually affecting the canvas. So.
Rembrandt also used the house to teach his students how to paint. He let them reproduce his works. He did that a lot of times. How important for you is it to teach something to, for example, other talents, new kids on the block?
Well, I think that it's an important process. I mean, it's how I learned. I mean, I learned by watching, or listening to Grandmaster Flash, and many other DJs, but I think that happens if you have enough interest. You're gonna watch DJs regardless of there's any effort to show you or anything. So I think that's a very important and natural part of the art form. But when someone makes it a point to do something, and they purposely are aware that people are going to see it, and there's an intent, I think that, and there's a strategic thing aspect to it, then it becomes really like a conversation. So you have a DJ with many years of experience that's saying something, and you're trying to have a conversation with people that might be interested in that. So then that's when things can advance and we can really speed up.
Because I think your music goes much deeper. The way you make music is almost impossible to just learn from seeing it. To going to your gigs, all right, you can feel it, you can hear it, you can see you working, but it's almost like you need, if you want to make the music you make, you need to be in your class, for example. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, a lot of it is made with a certain state of mind, and so I think that that you kind of have to. It's not. I know that a lot of the music that I make is not easy, and it's not it's not the type of music that comes, that you digest easily. You have to listen. I think you have to listen to it because I'm making it with the idea that someone's listening very closely. So detail and these are the things I'm thinking about when I'm actually in the studio I'm speaking to one person, not a group of 200 or 300, or 1,000. I'm thinking that I'm making the music for one person, and that person's by themselves, and they're listening very closely to it, and I also assume that the person that's listening to the music is a bit more advanced in terms of knowledge about music in general, or they are a music lover. So I don't see any reason why I should make music a particular way, and the message is more important than the form or the style of it. That it's more important to try to translate the message more than anything else. Even the equipment that I'm using is not as important as the message. So these are the things that I'm assuming are listening to this type of music that would be interested in this type of music. So.